It's May 30th, 2023, and I just finished my run. I had somebody ask me the amount, whichever. I ran into the local Bob who does the maintenance around the lake. And he said to me, he's like, "You've got a really great memory." And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, and I was just like, "Have a great day." And I said, "I'm Nicole, by the way." And I kept running. I was just assumed nobody knows my name. Um, so there's that. And then ran into Michael. He said he doesn't want to be called Mike because, again, there's two Mikes there. So ran into Michael, gave him an update on what's going on over the Memorial Day weekend. And he brought me a hat, which I thought was really wonderful. And I thanked him for this. Um, and I will wear this. He said where this came from um, in tag sales. So I said thank you. Um, and then I'm thinking about um, the people I was amongst yesterday and them showing me the linen with a different face on it. Again, I know that in Presidents of Benevolent Association, um, usually the face on the linen is significant of the government of that area. Um, so showing me that yesterday was and I had to ask who it was. So I appreciate that opportunity to learn from people in the analog world around me. Um, and so there's that. Then I'm going back to this Star Trek episode. Um, and there's this one scene that is very interesting, um, which I'm just going to use as almost like a little capture on this particular piece, as far as like one conversation that I'm not necessarily going to have, but they've had out there, and it is pertinent to whatever some pieces that I have going on. Um, and I should make a housekeeping note. There used to be this warning from the FBI on when there were movies. Um, I used to have to buy a license for the movie, and then had it on DVD, and then I had the license, but I never made videos. I never made bootlegs. I never made videos. I was compliant. Nowadays, they on this Verizon remote feature in the year 2023, when I bring up some of these Paramount or some of these Universal or Fox, they no longer have this FBI scary wording. So that's why I use some of what they've already had conversations about as part of my 2023 conversation with, because I see some things that I've encountered in the field. Um, and again, I say field because, well, they say here, there's the data and the data collection, and he's the artificial. And I did not realize also that Deep Space Nine came from Star Trek. So I've used that before. Didn't know it was a Star Trek reference till I watched it. I'm like, oh, is that what the? I guess that's what the humans think. But anyhow, so I mean, just so it's cognitively like aligned with what the humans in New York are digesting over my life frame, how they've, if they knew to stay in touch with this level of intelligence, like again, it's kind of sort of, but not really. Is it fan fed? I'm not quite sure at this particular juncture. Like, don't quote me on that one because, like, I'm not really, I don't know. But this one I thought was really important because it talks about like he had this memory lapse and like bringing him back up but some of his anagram was missing. Um, because, I mean, again, these are not like human features. Like the everyday human, they have a totally different conversation going on here in their confusion and their confounding medical degrees of certainty and what they're being educated on. It's like a whole different verbal construct, quite frankly.
Reconstruct data's neural net and replace the...
Now, this came out in 1998. I just found this the other day, but quite by accident.
They contain memory engrams.
How were they damaged?
By a sonar weapon. There's no doubt about it, Captain. That's what caused data to malfunction.
But the sonar report claims that they didn't fire until after the malfunction.
Well, I don't believe it happened that way.
Why would they fire on him without provocation?
All I know is that he was functioning normally until he was shot. Then his failsafe system was activated.
Failsafe?
His ethical and moral subroutines took over all of his basic functions.
But you're saying that he still knew the difference between right and wrong.
In a sense, that's all he knew. The system is designed to protect data against anyone who might try to take advantage of his memory loss.
And yet he attacked us, and he told the Baku that we were a threat. The implant's bothering you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I think I'm just tired.
Jordy? Captain?
You're on the Enterprise data.
They seem to be missing several memory engrams.
And again, for my purposes in real world and what's happened to me as an experience or of something that's really hard to put into words, and I really didn't think I'd have to. And I don't know if it puts me in grave danger. But this type of setting that they're alerting me through some portal system, if this is like the mirror dimension where I am at the moment, according to Doctor Strange at Marvel, just for another construct, if this I would consider restricted airspace, where that perfect world paradigm is, where the gravity, the microgravity works exactly the way I want it to. Like my cells work the correct way, like intracellularly works the right way. The extra, like the exuding energy field works just so perfectly. God, it's just, oh, it's like heaven to be in. Like, and then I never want to go back. I'm like, that to me is home. Where this is, even though sometimes I'll reference it as home or the residence, it is so painfully constructed. I just know how off it is. And there's nobody in my day-to-day life that I can even have that level of conversation with in order to correct it. And even, it's just, I even had a conversation with Llewellyn this morning. He wanted to talk to me about NDEs, and she was there, and she doesn't believe in it. And I'm like, listen, Lewis, you want the truth from me? Because he's like, I think you really had one, Nicole. And I'm like, I might have, Lewis, but I'm not willing to have that conversation with you. And he goes, why not? And I go, well, let's put it this way. There's two of you in this room. I was like, and the truth that you want me to profess to you might be okay in this safe space in the moment. I was like, but you've already proven to me that being safe in this moment and telling you the truth, you've turned around and used that same truth to batter me and beat me into some alternate story and situation, so I look like something that I am not. I was like, between you and her, I was like, it's always the convenient truth for you in the moment until some alternate scenario comes around, and then you twist the story and you make me seem in that moment to be something that I'm not, mixed with like bad seated memories and all sorts of things. Like, I'm not into it, Lou. I'm just not.
There they are.
Data, what's the last thing that you remember?
His nose should pant and his lips should curl.
From the mission?
I was in an isolation suit gathering physiometric data on the Baku. My last memory is going into the hills following some children.
This is where I feel like I'm at 2023. I don't know what management is up to. I don't know why it has taken me down this path. I don't know why RH. I mean, again, I have big black SUVs in my history. I have isolation, like youth, and I have special clock on my biological feature for this time frame. My grandfather was a no and a nah, not a nan, not a papa. Also special features that were misused according to us. Like, I don't know, we're no longer the seniors. I mean, the Federation somewhere else. There was a USSR, like the senior section. This is the USA. I don't know if there's, what is this, like the junior section? I mean, it's the United States, and this is the government. These are the ancestors. I look like the ancestors for this USA area and territory. Just because the senior section broke up, I don't understand what any of that was about either. But what I do know is the two blood types, the O, that are RH positive, while I'm sitting here RH negative in A nation by myself at the moment for this one conversation. But there are other A's out there because I had to get a blood transfusion from one of the good kind, whatever. So there is this conversation with, I can't remember where Romer 1976 was from, but Tiafrio 1975 was from Kerry, Ireland. That's his MacDonald clan were from Kerry, Ireland. Again, I'm Belfast, and I'm Protestant Belfast. So I don't know if that carried over the water into here, but yesterday I was wearing a strawberry t-shirt as a volunteer, as a GOD, after walking with the Red Cross, with the dollhouse. I was making Tiafrio pull the dollhouse. I mean, honestly, like in my spirit, Holy Spirit, I'm laughing like the Dickens because he is sweating as South Kerry, pulling that Episcopal church through Main Street. And I'm just like, oh, thank God, sweet Jesus, for wasting the last good breeding years of my life, you piece of whatever. That's the real story. But, I mean, again, who am I? I don't want to start bellows and whatever in the wrong flames. So here we are.
Artem, do you...
But that's what Blacksmith did, unbeknownst to me. I just found out South Kerry's in the South, which I also watched Charles's coronation, that Belfast is in the north, and he's still head of state for the north of Ireland. South of Ireland, I have no idea what they go off of. But again, in such low numbers in New York, it seems crucially important that these details come forward because, again, I didn't pick them. It's like toilet paper that's stuck to my shoe, and I don't know if he sought me out and then just dug his heels in, but he is not something that I chose, for certain.
Remember where you were on the day of lightning when the artificial life form appeared to us?
In the hills by the dam.
Can you show us?
There is no reason to fear me. I am now operating within normal parameters.
What?
They fixed me.
Yeah, again, I mean, this is at times what being human feels like amongst the rest of New York, or like the regular human. Like, I mean, that's why I'm just Disney princess. They said be kind to strangers. I'm just like, I will be the best government ambassador to this area. Just smile and nice to meet you. I'll be kind and gracious till somebody figures out what's going on and alerts me. They still use this system, and President Joe Biden is still in the White House as far as ancestral, congruent, whatever, in the US system. Because, like, again, I know there's a Victoria Day and a Victory Day. They're on a different system at like uncles and Zios and Tios and the RH. And then there's the HMS. I mean, whoa, so much to learn in so little time. And like the real crux of the situation is the part of science that nobody like knows or is allowed to talk about. It's off, it's painful. And there's some real changes going on, but yet we still have first class paper and linen for leadership in this area. So that seems crucially important at how do I alert the correct whatever.
Me. Captain, the boy is afraid of me.
It's nothing personal, Data. You have to remember these people have rejected technology.
I am the personification of everything they have rejected.
Until this week, that young man probably never saw a machine, let alone one that walks and talks.
Now, I call the analog in the third dimension, the body, I call it the body machina. I don't call it technology. Technically, it's technology, I suppose, but really, I call it the body machina. I mean, it's the physique. But I know that in other science programs, and again, don't want to get upset between, like, I put something up this morning about the Benevolent Association with the Benevolent Society, meeting that president yesterday, shaking his hand real briefly, because there's a song by Dustin Lynch called Good Girl. It's country music. And I know in Dad's eyes, he always wants me to be seen as that, especially to his father. So that is a crucial piece of like old money memento that whenever I'm out in public, I try to carry myself at that level of like anybody could be watching at any time. Paranoia, not really. It's come in incredibly useful since I've never been settled in my own skin on this planet or in this airspace, even with this government. But I still need to support my government that looks like this for fear of something else trying to come in and trying to whatever. So I'm special clock service at services. Like, I'm pretty sure Victoria Day and Victory Day, whoever celebrates those, and it exists. I've seen mention of it. I haven't done much research on it, but I've seen that it exists. In that type of area where those things, special clocks make sense. Why my father was not able to get to that level of astrology and that level of professorship and that level, like surrounding himself in that integritous system within this US, the us government system, and why I wasn't treated to that first class experience, knowing I was going to have a biological clock, which is utmost important as far as females in a season. Why that never came to fruition and like that handoff. and why there was some alternate story installed is problematic at a whole nother set of circumstances and a whole nother like area of science that it's not something you're going to learn in the public library, let's say. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.